Okay, I realize I haven't done a video for like a week. I got reminded by somebody about that. But I really haven't been really enthused. I mean, a lot of stuff that's in the news, you kind of want to talk about it, but you just kind of got to shake your head. You know, it seems such a hopeless case. You know, the one thing that disturbed me today, I saw they announced that we are going to start getting oil from Venezuela. You know, we went down there begging for oil before and they turned us down. But now they worked out a new deal. For some reason, they went for it. You know, Venezuela. I think it's a mistake. But our Treasury Department gave a license to Chevron to pull oil out of Venezuela. Why our Treasury Department has anything to do with this, that is beyond me. What say they have in this? But the deal that they made was Chevron goes in there, pulls out the oil. They can only sell to the United States. It doesn't hit on the open market. It can only be sold here. And no profits from this can go to the Venezuelan government. Because, you know, we tried to overthrow and put a puppet in, and so we don't consider them the legitimate government. The guy that we claim is the legitimate president is hidden away someplace or another. But it was just us trying to overthrow their government again, you know, which is what we always do. But, you know, we had seized a lot of their assets. I got poultry all over here. As soon as I start talking, here they come. And now the agreement would be that we would release some of their frozen assets back to Venezuela, but only through the UN. And it has to be, you know, certain categories, but it can't go to the government. You know, but I got the feeling a lot of this profit from this Chevron deal is going to go to support this the puppet we tried to put in. So I don't know what Venezuela is thinking there, because they're actually paying to overthrow themselves. You know, and after we've done all kinds of shit to them, you know, in seizing ships and whatnot, now we're going to kind of trickle some of that money back for like education or medical assistance or humanitarian aid of some sort, but only through the UN. You know, it's not allowed to be done by the government of Venezuela. It's a horseshit deal, and I get the feeling that there's going to be a lot of corruption involved, a lot of pockets. I wouldn't be surprised if Biden's kid gets involved there. He's that oil expert. He could get down there, run the whole operation. And then the big guy can get his 10%. I don't know why they went for that deal, though. You know, it's funny because, we can't drill here, but no, we can drill down in Venezuela. That's fine. No, that's a hell of a deal. But all this stuff that goes on, you know, it's just baffling. But we ain't above stealing oil. I mean, we've been stealing oil out of Syria for quite some time. So if we can figure out a way to kind of, on paper, do this legitimately in Venezuela, but, you know, there's going to be problems, and we'll end up with military in Venezuela yet. to guard the oil fields. Well, probably be contractors. But it's not going to end well. But it's something like a 6-month license they gave them to go in there. But like I say, I don't know how the Treasury Department has any say in this in the first place. That should kind of be up to Chevron and Venezuela. Well, we really have no business in there, but it's the same, like that nonsense with us in sanctions against Cuba all the time. Leave them damn Cubans alone. And there again, it was a failed attempt at overthrowing the government. Every time we do that, if we succeed, it turns out a disaster. If we fail, it turns out a disaster. We should just quit doing that. But man, we can't leave that alone. It's something we love to do, overthrow somebody else. But the funny part, like say here on YouTube, if you even mention overthrowing this government, you'll get kicked off. But you can talk about overthrowing governments everywhere else. That's perfectly acceptable. But you can't do it here, the place that really needs it. But it might happen yet. I think they're actually leaving people no choice. People are really hoping now that they got control of the House that they can put a stop to this stuff. But then if they're going to put McCarthy in there as Speaker, I think same old garbage. I don't think anything's going to happen. There are people who could make things happen. There are people who are itching to make things happen. And a lot of this stuff, the truth keeps coming out, but you're still not allowed, though it's common knowledge, you're still not allowed to talk about it. Like the origins of the COVID, You don't have to look far to find that. I mean, it was playing right from the get-go. But then when you're not allowed to talk about it, but I remember way back when it first started, somebody had mentioned Fort Detrick in Maryland, and that's where we do all our biological nonsense. Well, we got labs all over the world, but it usually starts in Fort Detrick. It's funny too because they were squawking at the UN. They wanted to get together a group of independent investigators to oversee, go take a look at some of these biolabs. Oh, God, no, we can't have that. At first they were saying, well, they were like veterinary sort of things, it was for animal health and all this. Well, now they kind of admitted, well, they're kind of dual purpose. Yeah, but they're weapons labs. I mean, that's always, when they're fiddling with that stuff, that's always what they're working at. But there again, you're not allowed to say that. So forget I said that. But when they brought that up, that they wanted investigators, I thought, yeah, that'll be like those UN inspectors that went in at that power plant that the Ukrainians keep shelling. Can't figure it out. Shells flying in. Oh, can't figure out who could be shooting. Yeah. That's just a joke. Yeah, and like that pipeline where, oh, yeah, can't figure that out. That's a mystery. A lot of mysteries. But even when they had the Minsk Accords and they were supposed to, they had inspectors watching this ceasefire in theory, which never really happened. They kept firing all the time into the Donbass. They never quit. But they had inspectors in there, and some of those inspectors are now sitting in prison because they weren't really doing the job. They were actually calling in artillery strikes. They were there, so okay, if you're going to take this place out or take that place out. That wasn't their job, but that's what they were doing. So some of them are sitting in prison. It's funny, you know, a lot of that stuff is just a make believe, feel good joke, you know. I guess it makes good press. You can say, oh, we were trying to do something. We aren't trying to do nothing. I just get disgusted with it. That, I guess, is why I haven't been done a video for a while. You know, like I say, all you can do at a certain point in there is just shake your head. It goes on. And I don't think things are going to change. You know, they could if they were serious about it. If the Republicans were serious about it, they could actually do some good now that they have the House. But like I say, if they get that McCarthy in there, it's going to be business as usual. Because honestly, the only way you're going to get this fixed, you're going to have to clear that whole pack out of there. You're going to have to start with Biden, impeach him, she gets in, impeach her, work your way down the line, and start thinning out that herd. You can't just sit back and leave this go on and on. But I'm afraid that's what they'll do. But there are people that really want to, you know, that have a passion to get things straightened out. You got to get them into a position where they can actually do some good. Well, I better go cut wood. Yeah, I was thinking I hadn't done a video for a while. I was thinking, hell, I should have. I should have went ahead and spoke some truth there purposely and got a strike. As long as I'm sitting here, I might as well have a strike on the record. I think I only got one now. I could take another one. If you don't have a strike or two hovering over you, you're not really trying. It's funny, though, I think that's going to change. I mean, it has to change. It can't go on like it is, the way YouTube is run. That's just ridiculous. But I did hear something the other day had to do with Facebook. You know, first I will mention I happened to see a video one day I was watching on YouTube from some channel that was, you know, in my recommended that I had never even heard of before. It was complete bullshit from one end to the other. Stuff that was blatant lies. You know, if there was ever misinformation, it was on that video about everything. It was just nothing but it makes me think that Facebook, they had finally clamped down on a lot of, they kicked off, I don't know, like 40 or 50 fake accounts that were being run by the government and the military, pretending to be individuals, but they were doing a lot of these posts trying to sway public opinion, you know. They kicked them off. And now they were all upset because then they figure, well, they got to have more money to do their little shenanigans and skullduggery. Because this was cheap, they could do it for nothing. Well, now they got to work at it a little bit. But it's funny, people fall for that nonsense. Like I'm sure, it was funny to read in that video that I saw, in the comments there, a lot of people are saying, what the hell is this? You know, because it was just blatant lies. But a lot of stuff, if they don't go too far overboard, people believe this nonsense. I don't. Dog doesn't. Dog believes in getting big chunks of birds. Those things are handy, man. But he will collect them.